One of the biggest pains in life is comparing yourself to others. We often think, why is she so successful and I'm not? But we don't try to understand which path she took and what my path is. Remember, if a fish wanted to fly like a bird, it would spend its whole life believing it's a failure, even though it can swim across the entire ocean. These days, because of social media, this habit of comparing has become even worse. We see someone else's success and immediately begin to feel our own life is small. We forget our own talents, and that thinking slowly pushes people towards sadness and hopelessness. That's why today's story is for anyone who's ever felt, I'll never be as good as them. Listen carefully, because every line in this story can change how you think. Don't be afraid, just listen. Once, in a small village near a town, there was a big, beautiful forest. In that village lived a boy named Ethan. He was hard-working and kind. But there was one habit that kept making him sad. He was always comparing himself to others. When he saw his classmate Liam getting the best grades, Ethan would think, I wish I were that smart. And when he saw his neighbor Ryan, who was very wealthy, he'd think, I wish I had that kind of money. Even when he watched someone run fast, he'd immediately say, why can't I run that fast? Those thoughts took Ethan's happiness away. He couldn't focus on his studies, and he stopped enjoying anything. All the time in his heart was the thought, I'll never be like them. One day, a wise old man visited the village. People called him Grandpa Joe. People liked to listen to him. His words carried calm and understanding. Ethan went to him and said, Grandpa, I work so hard, but when I see someone better than me, I feel so sad. Grandpa Joe smiled and said, Come to the oldest tree in the village tomorrow morning. You'll find the answers to your questions there. The next morning Ethan arrived. Grandpa Joe was already there. He said, Look carefully. What do you see? Ethan replied, I see many trees, some tall, some short, some heavy with fruit, some completely bare. Grandpa Joe smiled and said, Now imagine if the apple tree asked the coconut tree, Why am I so short? Or the coconut tree said, I wish I had sweet apples. How would that sound? Ethan laughed and said, That would be really ridiculous. Then Grandpa Joe asked, So tell me, how does this whole forest make you feel? Ethan answered, It feels peaceful and beautiful. Everything seems right where it belongs. Grandpa Joe said, Life is the same. Each tree has its own special quality, and every person has different strengths. Then he led him to a pond. Fish were swimming below, and a bird flew above. Grandpa Joe asked, Now, if a fish said, I wish I could fly like the bird, would that be right? Ethan replied, Of course not. A fish is made to swim, and a bird is made to fly. Grandpa Joe said softly, Then why would you want to live someone else's life? Find your gifts and move forward with them. Those words changed something inside Ethan. He understood that every person is different, and comparing yourself only brings more pain. He began to focus on his own talents and work. Over time, his confidence returned, and life felt fresh and exciting again. A few years later, through hard work, Ethan opened his own small business and became an example for the whole village. Whenever someone asked, How did you achieve this? He would smile and say, Never compare yourself to others. If a fish tries to fly, it will always feel like a failure. But if it focuses on swimming, it can own the whole ocean. Remember, the sun and the moon don't shine at the same time, but both are important. Find your path and walk it in your own way. That is when true success comes.